Hey, yes, I am out running again and talking about the clouds. Same old, same old. But I just find it interesting that the media and the TV are all going on about how it's the hottest Wimbledon ever, and the clouds are just like pristine blue there. Yet up north, you cannot see the sun anywhere at all. And everyone's saying it's similar in the southwest and other places. So it seems it is just Greater Manchester, Greater London, that has this amazing blue sky days. And I know we used to have, you know, differing weather. The south was always a few degrees warmer, but I don't remember again this huge crazy divide where literally a blind is drawn down the majority of the country, and then there's just a pocket, Greater London, with like 10-degree difference in temperature. It just seems very extreme to me and unusual. And if Wimbledon was up here, they wouldn't be able to be shouting about it being the hottest Wimbledon ever for everyone to hear. When it does, you know, and we have this, don't we, all the time, where the news portrays whatever's going on in London as that's the UK, when it evidently isn't. It's very different, just, you know, 50 miles outside of London. And I'm finding there's a pattern. I don't know about you, but again, here up north, we tend to have, on average, we're getting like 10 days where you don't see the sun at all. And then you have 1 or 2 days that are nice. Or like the other day, it was hot, and so everyone's going on about how heat wave when it's like a day. Whereas again, and I've noticed that over the last few years, it's been this heavy grey most of the time. And even when we had that freak heat dome, was that in 22 or 3? It was still a very grey summer. We didn't have very many barbecues. We just had that weird real heat for a couple of days. I think the record temperature was taken by tarmac at Heathrow as a jet went past, but still, it was very warm for a couple of days. But they tend to just use these freak days as though, you know, that's the general climate. Perhaps it is climate change, but it is extreme. Like, you get one crazy day and then the rest of the summer's very cool on average. But again, all the weight of the conversation is that on that 1 or 2 hot days, rather than the average being cooler than normal. And again, as a kid, the seasons were extremely much more separate. You could, you know, spring, summer, autumn, winter. There was a real step change generally between. You could smell a difference if you're a country person, you know what I mean. The feel of it was all very different. Whereas the last, you know, since 21, it just feels like it's just this consistent greyness, and it kind of merges between the seasons. And we haven't had any summer the last few years up here. Again, you just get the odd couple of days. But yeah, I'm seeing this pattern where you get, say, 10 days of full grey, no sun at all, really depressing, and then 1 or 2 days where it's really lovely, and everyone's like, oh, it's lovely, isn't it great? People seem to have very short attention spans these days. And again, because of the propaganda, the hysteria is crazy, where you have one hot day and it's all like, oh my God, and then it goes back to being really dull and boring for 2 weeks. The summers, again, as a kid, I just remember always, on general, being lovely, and you could always pretty much plan your summers to be outdoors all day in rivers and streams and on your bikes and having picnics, camping in the garden. Of course you'd have the odd rainy day, of course you'd have the odd cloudy day, but it was much more consistent, and generally summers were really nice. Loads of hot summers, I remember sleeping out in the garden in a tent, whereas now, as I said, it's pretty dull, pretty boring, and you have 1 or 2 days where everyone loses their you know what. And again, do these people want us in Blighty to live in a really dull, grey, boring, wet, cold country? Why can't we have what other countries have in Europe? People fly abroad to go experience the nice cafe culture sitting outside. The problem we have here is that our houses are built to retain heat, and they're absolute little ovens. So sleep is bad. And we don't have cheap energy, so we can't run fans 24/7 or have air conditioning. We don't have a pool in the garden. So the hot days sometimes are difficult in the evenings, but on general, you know, we don't live in a hot country. It's extremely dull and boring, and that's why we're known for such rubbish weather. So can people stop freaking out? Can the government please give us cheap energy so we can cool and heat our homes appropriately? And yeah, London, send us the sun, please. Have a good day.